Is it just halftime? Yeah, it would be. Check it later.
Nothing about them, just looks like nothing about them, just discussions.
Yeah, we've got one thing, I think.
Okay, Chair, we're live whenever you're ready.
I have, yeah, not quite time, but
Oh,
are we?
yeah, we can hang out 1 minute.
I don't want anyone to miss the opening prayer, Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioners ready? All right, we'll go ahead and start. Welcome to the Hyde Park City Planning Commission meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 1st, 2026. And we have myself, Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Mose, and Commissioner Hanson with us tonight. And Commissioner Taylor is away, may join via Zoom, but not at this time. We will start with the opening, and I forgot to ask someone, so I will pray and lead us in the pledge. Our Father in heaven, we come before thee at the beginning of this city meeting, and we pray for thy enlightenment and direction, and pray that we can be mindful and have clear minds and open minds and be able to discuss with each other things that pertain to our city, that we can make it a good place for us to live now and for those in the future. Help us to be mindful of those that we may not interact with each day, but are affected by our decisions. Please guide us in all that we do. We pray, especially for thy guidance at this meeting. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Next up is the approval of the minutes from our June 17th meeting. Ned, I'm wondering if you don't have any comments, do you?
As far as I remember, it's just right.
Is it? Because I think your name is misspelled.
Oh, I did see that. Usually I'm just happy if they get Ned right.
We can correct that.
There is one thing I wanted to look at, page 11. I believe that the person who brought up 11, I believe it was Commissioner Williams that talked about the 45 to 50 mile an hour to avoid funneling. I thought you brought
Finding
that
an
up.
artery road, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that wasn't me.
okay.
He doesn't want blame or credit, whatever, depending on if you're mad.
Said he argued, right? Argumentative, is that your?
Okay, we can make those two corrections.
Is that it for you, Mike?
That was it.
Charlene? I had a bunch of those. I felt like it mixed up Mike and Charlene on page 3 and 4.
May have.
Also, maybe you guys know who said what, but I thought like where it said Commissioner Williams,
Yes. On 3, the top one
yeah,
That was it.
was me,
yeah.
where it says Commissioner Williams.
To take these minutes and compare them to the YouTube and make those corrections, and then we can bring this back to approve at the next meeting. That's
Okay,
not a problem.
there's just a bunch of those and it refers to like Planner Layton as a he.
Yeah.
So maybe you've adopted that pronoun.
Not to my knowledge, but it's okay.
Yeah, so.
It wouldn't be the first time it was assigned to me.
So I do have, yeah, Ned's name spelled wrong and then a bunch of mixing up between Mike and Charlene as far as comments and calling you a he, and Ephraim being spelled Efram.
Oh,
Our AI companion is not helpful.
It was you that brought up moving the public hearing. It wasn't me. So yeah, that one got mixed up too. It's like
Yeah.
it completely reversed the two of us.
So the, yeah, AI got it.
And I figured it was just AI. And yeah, Ephraim, at first I thought that was some business name. And then I kept reading, I went, oh, this is the city of Ephraim and AI doesn't know how we spell Ephraim, not that. Okay, yeah, there were a bunch of those.
Okay,
So
so we'll table that to the next meeting.
Okay.
if That's okay.
all right.
Yep.
Do we need to vote on tabling that?
No, you can assign that to be tabled.
Great, thank you. Okay, then next up would be the staff report, also by you.
Okay, and what I'm gonna do is tell you that my super great intern Kyle has a status update on your little monitors there. Are they
Ooh.
on?
Mine says no support.
Mm,
They were on
They were.
right
They're off
before
my
this.
can, But actually unplugged mine to plug my computer in, but
Oh, that's
Yeah,
why.
That's why it's.
It all goes off of the first one.
Yes, it's
We
a
did it.
Christmas tree or Christmas light situation where you unplug
Yep,
one and they
here, I'll plug it
all,
back in. We'll bring everybody back live.
yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, the IT individual and I went through, we figured it would be really helpful to have it like right in front of you and readable, especially as I'm going through slides to be able to read the slide instead of turning around or
Mine's
looking over there. So anyway, if there is still problems, I can come afterward and hopefully fix that.
Is there a reason that we haven't been using the monitors?
Nothing.
I-
Are they not helpful or we just haven't been doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, yeah. I mean, I think it would be helpful too.
I think this will circumvent the can you zoom situation, can you zoom in? Can you
Right.
zoom out? We can just zoom in up there and you should be able to see it.
Right. Oh, I'm up.
No.
There it is.
Thanks,
There
Ned.
you go.
Thanks, Kyle.
Can I make a motion that we get more electrical outlets here? 'Cause there's not hardly.
I would second that because I've tried to plug in before too and had issues.
Oh, we need some, okay.
Outlets is the problem.
Got it.
No,
I think there's like,
Oh, you have
So if
two.
we come and need to
Yeah,
plug in.
mine plugged into
We're
yours
stuck
too.
with the choice of either we have to unplug something else.
Unintended consequences.
or even just the little,
Here, you can unplug mine. I've got it right here.
well, I got it right here too, but we can't see.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm not logged into their YouTube. So I like to be able to look at other things.
I know, I bring my
have
iPad on the
computer,
side.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah, I have mine on the side too.
I'm not watching the game. I'm not.
Not yet.
Have fun.
Sometimes I'm looking at a different page than you're showing on the screen. I've got my iPad too. All right.
Maybe
Is there more for the staff report?
Report is that we have had some IT upgrades via the intern class. So
All right.
thanks, Kyle, for that.
Thanks, Kyle.
of course.
All right, we have one administrative item, an application for an amended development agreement for the Hyde Park Gateway.
Yes, there should be, well, there is a folder in box called Gateway Amendment 3. There's a folder where you have seen the original development agreement documents. There is an addendum 1 and addendum 2. And then they have applied for amendment 3. I believe it is also an addendum, but we're going to kind of sort that out. I also included the application that was submitted, the site plan that was submitted, and the actual amendment itself. So you have many documents to choose from if you've done your revision there in box. And because we kind of expedited hearing this item, there was not time for a staff report. So the applicant has graciously agreed to present. So if you'll recognize him, we'll bring him up to.
So amendment is a change and addendum is an addition?
Correct.
All right. Kelly Harmon, will you speak to us about this item?
Thank you very much. I appreciate Mikhail and the council putting this on the agenda today. So this is in regards to the flats or the apartments. Originally, our development agreement showed 120 apartments or flats. And we were originally going to do a market rate funding and do this as a market rate project. With interest rates like they are, which is kind of painful from our perspective, it makes it really difficult to get financing for the apartment section. So we have hired a consultant, and we're working with the state of Utah on doing an application, a 4% low income housing tax credit application. There's a whole bunch of steps to this. This is a 4%, not a 9%, so it's not quite as competitive as a 9%. What that means is that the 4% tax credit, this will help Hyde Park with the moderate housing plan, moderate income housing plan. But what I understand is that this will target tenants that have, I think it's a 60% threshold of the average income level of the state. So it's going to provide housing to lower income people. One thing I want to point out is that Sell Assets is doing all of our property management across numerous properties anyway, and they will maintain management of the apartments. Just as a side note, we've actually done some work with branding, and so the apartments are going to be called Ridgeview Flats at the Gateway, and then the townhomes are Parkview townhomes at the Gateway. But so the consultant that we're working for a application submission to the state. I think it's August 14th, 15th, somewhere in there. And one of the things that the consultant told us is, in order, she's worked through our performance with us, and all of her costs and revenue generation and everything. And she said that we really need 5 more units on the flats, on the apartments. So Skylar has asked Ken Erickson, our designer, to come up with some designs for a clubhouse that incorporates 5 units. And so I don't know if that is shown in the folder. I thought I put it on.
I read it somewhere.
So yeah, I don't know if you can see it from there, but that is an image of the clubhouse with the 5 additional flats.
So it didn't change the size of the clubhouse.
Clubhouse is the same size. That's
And
correct.
Is the footprint the same?
No, square footage might be a little bigger, but we're still accommodating the same size pool deck and the playground area. The amenities are all the same. So basically what we have with this building here is we have 1 additional flat on the ground floor. And then the rest of that ground floor is the clubhouse and the pool room for the pump room for the pool. And then the other 4 additional flats are stacked above the clubhouse. And yeah, so I think it did increase the footprint a little bit. Anyway, so what we're asking for is, you're probably right, it's a change, but maybe you want to explain the amendment versus the addendum. But I'll finish this. So this amendment requests a change from the 198 condominium apartment units to 200 to 125. From 120 condominium units to 125. And then it dedicates an additional 2¼ acre feet of culinary water for the increased density. And then it says that all of the impact fees would be adjusted accordingly for the increased density. And then all other, this is all other terms, conditions, and standards of the original agreement would remain in full force. So that was the idea behind this. Is Skylar is, we're hoping that the council and the city agree to this. It'll help us with our application. We are going to great efforts to get as many points, and that's kind of, these applications are based off points. So that we have a good chance of getting funding for this. We get funding for this, that funding will, the tax credits will be awarded. Well, the notification of these tax credits will be done this fall, and then we'll be breaking ground early spring. With this funding, we'll be able to just go in and knock one out after another. So the 4 30-plex buildings and the community center. So construction will happen a lot faster than it would if we were going market rate and trying to finance this. So anyway, any questions?
So you said you're going from 120 condos to 125 condos?
That's correct. Yeah. So as far as a function of the total number of units on the project, it's about 2.5% increase.
Was there a change in the townhomes?
No. Townhomes evolved.
Townhomes stayed the same.
Apartments stayed the same.
Just the apartments are
Just
changing.
the apartments changed.
Condos are changing.
Is condo and apartment the same?
That's the way that the development agreement is written, is condominium or apartment, and then the townhomes are separate.
Oh,
So there
sorry.
have always been 78 townhomes. And right now, I think I just got a check cut for the last of the first 46 townhomes. So that's where we're at moving forward with the ones on the east side of Wolfpack Way.
So condo, flat, apartment, are all referring to the same thing.
Yes, thank you.
Will they be rented then or
Everything's
owned?
a rental.
Everything's rental.
What's the number? You said that 60% is that of the state average income, median?
I believe, yes, that's the medium income in the, I'm not an expert in this. It could be the median income in this area. But
Yes, it is.
It would make more sense.
It's a
if that's
local,
what it was.
it's a local median. It's not a state median.
Like our
Okay.
county.
Yes. I believe it's county.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We got that
you
number.
can probably see how this will help with the moderate housing plan, moderate income housing plan.
Is that a permanent requirement for
It
renters?
is not permanent. I think it's 15 years.
Okay.
So the 9% is actually 45 years, 45 to 50 years, but the
Wow.
4% is 15 years that we're locked into that.
Well,
9% is how long? Out of curiosity.
Excuse me?
45 to 50, so
45 to 50.
I'm just curious the difference between the two, what you said, 9% versus the 4%.
Yeah, so 9% provides a lot more tax credits, but it's a lot more competitive and the thresholds drop. I think they go down maybe to 45% median income. And with a 9%, you can have a sliding scale. So you can have so many that are 45, so many that are 50 and up to 60%. But with the 4% and with the application we're doing, these are just, I think they're 60% across the board. And the management, so this is actually managed differently than the townhomes. We'll have, the managers are all be in the clubhouse, but they're managed differently. And the compliance with the state is very strict as far as making sure that all of the documentation's in place and that the tenants meet those requirements. And, yeah.
Are the townhomes rentals also, or are those owned?
Townhomes are just market rate.
Okay, so everything's rental. Townhomes
Yes.
and the apartments, okay.
yes. How many units does that end up being that you're gonna be,
So it'll be 125 units that,
yes, that are your building, but how many will be for the low income housing?
it's all of
All of
the
it sounds like
125.
All of it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's 245 total?
No,
So
one
it,
twenty-five.
I thought there's 125.
That's what went from 120 to 125.
Then how many townhomes?
78 townhomes.
Okay, so 125 plus 78.
But the
so-
townhomes
those-
aren't restricted by
They're not
income at
restricted
all.
at all. They're managed differently.
So those are gonna be market rate,
Those are
just
market.
whatever's,
Yeah, whatever the market will bear.
Interesting.
So is this in the phase 3 where
So
where I
200
see the
units.
pool
The
and stuff
blue.
on the site plan?
That's correct.
The
And-
blue ones
and-
are the additions.
They're building 3, it probably looks like the clubhouse in phase.
Yes.
What I'm thinking.
Is there a way that could go on a bigger screen? My iPad's not big enough.
I do have a site plan
This kind of stuff.
Yeah.
that I can bring it if you want.
It's the blue ones in the latest
So
addendum.
now the blue ones, okay, the blue
Those are
ones
the
are
additions?
actually a type A, full handicap sensory. But we're actually going to have, instead of 3, we're gonna have 7 type A units. That's what is on the plan so far.
On your roads in there that have question marks on them, you just don't know what they're called, or you don't know if they're public or private?
So the only roads that are public is off to the west, the 580 west, that's a public road. And then we're coming down to 50th or 60th that runs east-west, that is public, and then all the internal roads. No, these are all private roads. It's probably the addressing that we don't have.
Okay, yeah, I just see how the question marks like,
Yeah.
public or private? I'm like, I feel like that's a big deal and we should know that by now.
Those are all private.
So phase 1, obviously, we see that one's going in right now.
So
Just curious,
phase,
what's the time frame on 2 and 3?
okay, yes, so phase 1, we're hoping to have all the townhomes done by the end of the year. Okay, and then with this funding here, we're going to jump over and do phase 3,
Okay.
the apartments. And then depending on how quick we get phase 1 stabilized, get them all rented out, then we'll jump into phase 2 of the townhomes. So I just want to toot our horn a little bit. L59, downtown Logan. This is an anomaly, but we've been between 97 and 100% occupancy for the last 2 months, when a lot of our competitors are in the low 90s and high 80s. And I'm just putting it out there. I think it's a function of the product that we're putting out there. And
I like
you'll
it.
see that here.
I like it. I like it. On the carports, I don't know that I was here when this spinal was, I feel like this came through for the couple years that I was gone. Are these carports, is it just a covering or do they have walls?
No, it's just a covering.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that place down on 2nd North and 6th West. the
Yeah,
Yeah.
Meadows or whatever it's called. I can't remember what that's called.
That's
the ways.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a similar.
Same old carport than that.
Mhm.
So, the agreement, your amendment refers to phase 4, 5, and 6, or 5 and 6. But on the picture, I don't see a phase 6.
So originally, we had the apartments broken out into 2 phases. So yeah.
On your application.
On our application, so the townhomes on the east side, were phase 1 and 2. And then phase 2 was broken, those townhomes were broken out into phase 3 and 4. And this was a long time ago. And then the apartments were 5 and 6, basically, to
Okay.
come up with, $30 million to build the apartments. We thought we'd have to break it up.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other, or Mikkel, do you have things you want to say?
No, I think that clarified for me a little bit what this was about. So yeah, I have nothing to add.
Okay.
And what is our
Are we-
quest?
Yeah,
What
are
trying to do?
we,
Your task is to make a recommendation to city council.
okay.
Okay. And since this is an addendum, we don't need to worry about public hearings.
Correct. They're not asking for financial, in fact, they're asking the opposite. In number 2, you'll see that they understand that they're gonna have to do their water dedication. And in number 3, they understand there will be additional impact fees, right? Normally, we would be doing a public hearing because they don't want to pay their impact fees and they want financial rules changed and ordinances sidestepped. So this is in fact an amendment to the original development agreement. It's just not in the version that you're used to seeing of red lines and green lines. It's crafted like an addendum. Normally in an amendment, you know, you would get the strike throughs of what's being changed in the original. So that's kind of where I was confused.
Okay, I look for a motion.
I'd like to just say one thing real quick before I make a motion.
Okay,
And that is that I appreciate, and I understand that money is tight right now because of interest rates, but I appreciate the efforts that you're going through, and I hope that they get approved because I'd really like to see some assistance for those lower income families that don't have a nice place to live. And I'd love to welcome them to Hyde Park. So I'd like to make a motion that we recommend approval to the city council for this addendum.
And I can second that. I can second that.
thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Mose to recommend approval to City Council and a second by Commissioner Hanson. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, that passes unanimously.
Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Do we have what?
Do we have anyone on Zoom right now?
Hmm.
No? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. Do you
Oh,
guys not
Heather
hear
is
me?
there.
I'm like, I've been
Well,
here the whole time.
I thought I heard an echo when Ned said something.
Yeah, I
But-
second it
Hi,
as
Heather.
well.
Mikhail said she
Hello.
hadn't seen you.
Oh, yeah,
my
I've been
voicemail.
on. I've been
kinda funny, I
on
was like-
since.
Okay, hold on a minute, Heather. We're gonna have to get quiet to hear you. Okay,
I
go
have-
ahead.
I have been on since we were discussing the minutes and all the
Okay.
mistakes. So I'm here.
Okay. Did you have anything to add to our discussion of the addendum?
No, I love it. I agree with what you said.
Okay, so you voted for that as well, so it's unanimous with 5 votes.
Yes,
Is that correct? Okay,
that is correct.
all right. Well, I'm glad you spoke up. We all thought Ned had a female echo.
I was going through puberty.
It's hard to watch the Zoom stuff. Okay.
All right, moving on. We don't have any legislative items, so we're moving on to discussion items. First one is ordinance for definitions, additions, and changes.
Okay, once again, I have assigned my intern, to present to you. He's put together really good packages for these, so I hope you guys got a chance to see them, and he's gonna walk you through these.
Okay, yeah, you guys are stuck with me for the next little bit.
We like it.
So I have drafted ordinances for both our definitions that we looked at last meeting, as well as our zoning map, cutting off applications and repeals for those zones. And the goal for today is to gauge whether or not this is ready to be an item next meeting to be voted on. So we have a public hearing in place already, so we need to know if there's anything we need to change beforehand. Okay. So this one is the definitions. The ordinance is up, but the only change from last week is an addition to the definition of detached accessory dwelling unit to include the purpose of offering long-term rental of 30 consecutive days or longer, as per Commissioner Mo's request. We are currently working on as well in the ordinances for ADUs to include a deed restriction to prevent sort of like that Airbnb type thing. So this would be the first step in doing that.
Great.
Other than that, everything should be the same as last time. So are there any comments, questions, or concerns with the definitions?
So it makes it sound like these are only for rentals.
For
So-
long-term rental?
So what if it's a mother-in-law? Because there's some of these are mother-in-law.
That's
connections.
family, that's not a rental.
Okay, but then it says the purpose of these are for rentals. So,
Oh, good point.
It's just not, I don't think it's considered separate. It's not considered an ADU if it's family. It's just a separate entrance and it's a single home still.
well, I mean, you build a little house out back for your mother-in-law. Maybe you don't want her in
Usually you
that
can
close.
ADU a family usually.
So I guess what I'm saying is that by saying it's purposes for only rental, then it kind of, if the purpose was really for your mother-in-law, then it's not.
Well, she rented it for $10 a month, okay?
I know, but I'm.
Cook
is
dinner
that-
for
is
us
that-
and you get
I
it.
mean, you
Hyde
do,
Park City doesn't require a business license for long-term rentals, so we don't track that at all.
Right.
What we wanted to clarify is not that it was for rent, but that it was for long-term residential use.
right.
Maybe we should.
And we're copying state code here, so this
I
isn't
guess maybe
our
what seems to me
language.
more logical is to say, the purpose of this is for a long-term rental or for additional family members.
Or just say if it's being used as a rental, it requires 30 days. a week.
Well, and that's why we just went with state code here. They've already debated all of it.
Yeah, the
And
first-
so this is
the
straight
internal-
from the state.
On both.
Sorry, the internal, that's exactly the way it is in the state
Yep.
definition.
Precisely, yeah.
So there you go. The internal ADU.
So
Right.
they don't have to be rented. to
So
be an
all we
ADU.
did was add that same verbiage to the detached ADU so that we didn't have the issue of Airbnb,
Right.
short-term rentals.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that Ned brings up because we're talking about rentals and yet we're referring to it as a mother-in-law apartment, which for our purposes is not considered a rental. That's just considered part of the main family, the main dwelling.
Yeah, the financial back and forth isn't something that we're considering. Like I said, you could charge your mother-in-law to live there and that's still none of our business. So the
I-
purpose is for long-term rental use.
I
If
would.
you want to let your family live there, you can. I mean,
I would double.
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nitpicky, but I don't know if it turns anybody off from doing something because they don't really want it to be, or maybe brings up questions to you later. I don't know. It doesn't, just saying it's
If-
kind of inconsistent with what it might be used for.
I would agree with that only because if we want to encourage ADUs to be built, that way when they sell their home, an ADU exists. The existence of them in and of itself is what we're encouraging, right? What the state wants is
Mhm.
having ADUs available. Doesn't mean you have to rent it out. Maybe we just parse that out or.
Or do you say it's not for the purpose of short-term rental?
Yeah,
How
there you
about-
go. Is not.
I have a-
Again, we've gone along with the state code definition and
The
that's
fir-
what we're trying to adopt so that we can be consistent.
The internal ADU definition, I don't think we should change because again, that's word for word from the state. The detached, where we added that last sentence, how about if we put for the primary purpose of, that allows some leeway. So instead of reading how it does right now, it would read, a detached accessory dwelling unit is created for the primary purpose of offering long-term rental of 30 days, 30 consecutive
Or
days or
we could
longer.
just say long-term residential use. It doesn't even have to say
Yeah,
rental.
I like that better than rental.
the
Because
legal
I think,
coverage
I
is-
agree with Ned. If we use the word rental, I think that will stop some people from building. And what we're trying to do is to encourage it. I like long-term dwelling purposes. Either that or like Melinda said, say, not for the purpose, shall not be used for short-term rentals.
But I think we're
Or
coming
memory.
up with another code for that. So
Yeah.
let's not start
We're trying
mixing.
to keep things super simple and basic.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice that it says the same thing under both.
Yep.
Because we mean the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not hard on this. I'm just like saying it doesn't
Yeah,
make sense.
I'm sure that the state in the way they put this are not going to say anything about family living in there.
It's all
So
open. Yep.
us using the exact same verbiage on the next one down doesn't change the meaning from the first one, and it probably adopts that same meaning.
Is the definition above for accessory dwelling unit, the overriding,
That is the word for
Word for
word
word for the
definition
state?
from the state.
is the main, if that said that it was locked off to be, different from the regular part of the house, then that would make sense as it's a rental as opposed to a family. Whatever. Like I said, not stuck on it, I'm just saying it's a little bit quirky.
Okay. So is the consensus to add primary in front of the purpose for that second definition?
Well,
Or long-term housing.
I actually don't like primary because then they'll use it for short term and it's not a primary use. We're just using it secondary. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
like just keeping it for the
good.
purpose, the only purpose.
Stick as close to state code as we can.
Yeah.
To be
I like that it says the same thing for both.
The state will fix it and we'll fix ours then.
Sounds
Good
good.
job. Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
Well, I think, you know, they'll get somebody that complains or Susan or whatever.
Okay.
Charlene, do you have something else?
Presenting.
Give us
the-
just a second.
Oh, sorry.
Charlene's thinking.
Apologies.
I can tell she has her thinking hat on.
their law degree had
By
on.
by definition, like Ed said, if it could not be an accessory dwelling if it's created not for the purpose of offering long-term rental for 30 consecutive days or longer. By definition, so we are boxing people in a little bit with this, or a lot of it. Because if that is, accessory dwelling is created for that purpose, and if they're not created for that purpose, then they don't get categorized as an ADU. Can they?
Right. Your
Yes.
mother-in-law would not be in an ADU. She's just in part of your house,
Right, but ADU.
even if it's detached.
Well, like Brent Kelly lives next door to me or down from me. He has a separate apartment built right into his house that's right there that, you know, it can be used as a rental or they use it mostly for families.
But for the purposes of ADUs, are they not now green lighted with different rules than non-ADUs because of the state's desire for more? Am I correct that the state, it's easier to do an ADU because of the encouragement of building them now? The state's kind of put that down. But so if it doesn't fall under the definition of ADU, they don't get that benefit, correct?
Under the definition,
If it doesn't, if what's being built doesn't qualify by definition as an ADU, if there was someone that was trying to fight that, could this definition be used to deny someone?
no.
So they don't have to say it's a rental that doesn't,
Again, the city we don't license long-term rentals. That is something we've never done and it's not something we intend to do. If you let somebody live in your ADU, that's between you and them. We don't collect contracts. We don't go door to door asking how you're related to the person you're living with. We don't do any of those things. This is simply us adopting state code so that our code is consistent.
At one time, we were charging separate utilities. Is that different now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's in the ADU code that they share. You can request one, but you don't have to have a separate meter. Yeah. So right now, we're just talking about definitions. We're not talking about ADU standards or anything else. This will be proposed for public hearing on the 15th of July. And then it'll go to city council from there.
I'm fine with all of it. Commissioner Hanson?
It's not the hill I want to die on, so I'm open.
All right. Commissioner Mose?
I'm fine with it.
Commissioner Williams?
I'm the same. I tend to hang on the technical definitions, but if it's not restricting and giving the ability to deny people based on that definition.
No, our
Then I'm fine with
intent
it.
would not be to restrict ADUs. We want to encourage that. So
Okay.
this is a step in the right direction, I think, for us. Okay, the other thing that will go for public hearing on the 15th is our ordinance to repeal the RT zone and to sunset MXD and R2. So Kyle's going to show you that ordinance.
Okay. So, as you can see.
By the way, I remember why I don't use this screen because I can't read it.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
tiny.
It would
like-
be better with the slides,
Okay, just.
but
just
yeah,
pictures.
for the documents, it's,
Yeah, because I've got my iPad by the side and
Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
we can zoom in.
Yeah.
That's way better. Yes.
Okay, apologies. So this first one is cutting off R2 development applications. As was discussed last time, this is pretty simple. It's just adding a clause prohibiting applications until the city council reauthorizes them.
I had a question. I wasn't here last time, so I'm gonna ask the dumb question. So you turn these off and you can rename them to low density or whatever the terms were. But are you just gonna use like the R2 development standards that we have now in the ordinances? So it's really just a name change for now and then you fix that later? So really it's just name changes today.
Precisely. This is just cutting off
So
applications.
if I have a R2 lot right now, which I don't, but if I did, I could still use the old R2.
Yes, it
Build on it?
not at all.
Yeah, just for a new subdivision, they can't do R2 until, but they couldn't do the low density
We
or
would
R2.
rezone anyone to R2 and we wouldn't annex anyone into R2.
Okay,
But existing R2 remains.
Yeah, which we've had, at least when I was here before, we had an R1 zone for a long time. A lot of the homes in the core were R1. But as far as new residential zones, we only offered we didn't call it R2. R20, RE20 and A1, like the only new zones that people could ask for were the half acre and the full acre. And so at this time, like, right, R2 still exists, but no one can get that as a new zone. You can't switch to that zone
gotcha.
from something else.
Cool.
Exactly right.
Okay. Here is Exhibit E. This one is repealing RT. Because am I correct in saying there's no developments?
There hasn't been any developments presented for RT development. Anything that has an application in on it for the RT zone is through development agreement. There has been 0 applications for RT zone. So this one is okay to repeal because it doesn't govern anyone or any development at this time.
No one's affected by it.
Correct. So we would neither rezone anyone to RT, annex anyone to RT, nor would we allow any applications to be processed in the RT zone. All of that would close and then we would deal with that zone. We did talk about sending it back to its parent zoning. I did go back to 2009 to find out exactly what those would be. It was changed initially to planned
Professional.
And before that, these were A1 and a small section of them were the R20. So they would basically go to A, Ag, and R2.
And you send letters to those property owners telling them that the zone at their property is now a different zone than it was yesterday?
Yep.
Is this what it's gonna look like in the ordinance itself?
Yes. This is the language that I was planning, or we were planning on using.
The reason I ask is because I would hate to be the guy that started reading Exhibit E and got really excited about it and then got down to the very last line and said, hey, this is repealed. Why are we not just putting it underneath the title 12.145.010 repealed?
Like as like an announcement
Well,
before.
like they do it in state code, repealed.
This was what I looked at other cities did, and so I just copied it from other cities, but
Okay,
we can do that.
yeah, maybe behind that title, put down
Parentheses.
repealed in parentheses,
Up there.
just so that
I like
people
that
don't
too.
get excited about, hey, yeah, that sounds like perfect project for me.
Sure. Would you want the same thing for the other ones as well, cutting off the applications?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
Yeah. Okay,
I got a question.
oh, yeah.
So what's the advantage of repealing it now versus just realizing that we're going to make a different kind of a zone down there? As opposed to sending it all back to its original? And then doing, cause we never got anybody to apply. And then, so we're gonna just repeal it, but then at some point in the future, we're gonna do something, I don't know what it is. Make a new definition of whatever, and then you're gonna have to bring all those back to that new whatever it is. So what's the advantage of doing this as opposed to just saying, hey, let's just fix RT to be what we want, what we're gonna have to do anyway? What's the advantage to doing it?
So
Or you
it's
wanna-
not really a matter of advantage. It's a matter of the time it takes to do that thing, to take it from RT to something else. We're working on those zones right now, but they have to be exactly right, and they have to meet state code, and they have to pass attorney review.
Right,
And so we're not ready to give them an alternative to the RT, but a piece of property can't just sit with no zoning. Right?
Right.
It can't just be a ghost. So it has to have zoning on it. So our options are to freeze it as it is and continue to let these parcels be split zoned, so that when somebody does want to develop their whole parcel, now they've got to rezone that little bit of RT because we don't have our new zones in place yet. Or the city can take it upon us to do that work ourselves. And when these folks want to do something else before the new zones get assigned, they can. But this immediately gives that property the ability to be rezoned or to be used as a whole, right? A lot of those are zoned ag with just a little bit of RT on the edge. So they're all in the split zone status right now, which is not ideal. And this would just make them whole again. And then the owners could proceed from there, do what they want to do.
So it unties their hands for that one requirement.
but when we untie their hands, are we gonna end up with something we don't want?
No, we're not tying anyone's hands. If anything, we are helping them because a split zone property, as you know, is problematic, especially when it's time to get zoning clearance or zoning verification to do a project. And especially if we're gonna deem this RT zone a no-go, now they can't do anything with that section of their property. So repealing this and allowing us to return it to its whole zone as a whole would actually give folks more opportunity if they wanted to develop their parcel according to the A zone. They could do that on that entire parcel and not have to go through the process of rezoning just the RT part. We're not going to assign a new zone to anyone. We're going to let this sit as it is until the owner wants to do something else with it. If they
So,
want to keep that zone, they keep it. And if they want to change it later, they can change it later. They could change it now. They could rezone to R5, the whole thing right now if they wanted to.
does this affect visionary?
No, because they're asking for a development agreement. The zoning for them doesn't matter to them. So this is mostly cleanup and then move forward in a tidy manner instead of letting the RT zone ride and not be usable.
Well, I mean, I get that part. The only thing I guess I'm questioning is there any negative that can happen? I mean, if we kept it in RT, then nobody wants to do anything anyway, so it kind of slows.
Someone could put in an application tomorrow for RT
Well, nobody's
and then
done.
we'd be stuck with it. Not this week, they haven't, but who knows what could happen. So we want to clean all of these up so that they're ready to go when we've got our new zones and people can use their entire parcel instead of just a portion. Right now, the RT zoning is just a portion of everybody's parcel. So the RT benefits only apply to a tiny piece of their parcel. and then the rest is ag. And those RT provisions don't apply to that. So now they're having to develop their parcel in two different ways, and that's not helpful. So we're trying to be helpful.
Okay, I just was worried that there might be a negative out of this, but if there isn't.
Well, there's always something will always pop up, but what we're trying to do is clean and tidy and then make it so folks can use their parcel now if they want to. Or when they're ready to rezone, it will be for the whole parcel instead of just trying to rezone a part or a portion of it.
As a follow-up to Melinda's question on the visionary, because part of theirs is zone that, correct?
In the RT.
Yeah. So that portion, would it default to the prior, and would we need
Of
to?
R2.
To R2, so would we need to? What would we need to do to the development agreements?
Right.
Because it's in
The development agreement currently has been withdrawn.
Okay, yeah. So it would default to R2 in the new development agreement, it would need to say, here's what we're asking to do to it up to
Yeah,
some
the
other.
development agreement just throws out the zoning. They made a deal, and
Yeah.
they don't have to follow any of the zoning. They only have to follow their deal.
I was just thinking, because the reason for the development agreement was because they were asking for different zoning. So this is absolutely going to be different zoning as well, right?
Yes, and if they really wanted to do what they are proposing density wise, they could request that all of that be rezoned to MX right now. After this gets passed, they would neither be able to do MXD or RT. So
Okay.
they'll still do a development agreement either way.
That's a great transition into the MXD portion as well, which is same wording as our R2, just cutting off applications. So those who are currently in MXD are still bound by the development standards of MXD, but no new areas can be rezoned to MXD.
bless you.
Okay. Are there any further comments, questions, or concerns regarding any of these changes?
Put a disclaimer at the top.
Yeah, move it. I'll move it up to the top. So it's the
Okay.
first thing they see. Okay.
So, I'm sorry, yes, I do kind of have a question. But are we saying that we don't want any more mixed use development along Wolfpack Way? Is that what we're saying here?
That is, when I read my notes from the discussions we had, that was exactly what was communicated to us. We want to preserve the commercial that's along there. And if we are going to allow high density housing, we want it in a high density housing zone, not an MXD zone that just wants to have a development agreement over the top of it, saying they don't have to do the commercial.
Okay, thank you.
Again, the properties that are vested as MXD, we're not rezoning anybody. We're not taking away any rights that they have. We're just, it's a sunset on the MXD rezones.
Okay,
If that's not the direction you folks want to go, then now's definitely the time to say so. But the conversations that we had previously was we wanted to preserve the commercial that existed before it all became MXD. And that we wanted opportunities for different kinds of housing along there in place of just townhomes and apartments on top of commercial.
Okay. So our last discussion item is on development agreements. So present. As the city is considering development agreements and amendments, Ms. Layton and I have had the opportunity to review their purposes and structure. Apologies. today we would like to share some of our takeaways that we learned and some of the best practices according to organizations like the Utah Land Institute, the American Planning Association, and the Utah League of Cities and Towns. So first, the bottom line of all of the comments goes back to the basic definition, as it is a partnership between two entities, so there's always give and take and concession and benefits. That's sort of the meat and potatoes of what the purpose of considering a development agreement is. Because it's a contract, it's legally binding, and so they want to minimize, or they recommended minimizing exhibits or provisions that either the city or the developer intend to alter after signing the agreement. So any of those superfluous exhibits that are perhaps only in the concept phase are not recommended to be in, since that is what you're signing to. According to the Utah Land Use Institute, skilled legal counsel is essential. The Utah Land Use Institute recommends having an attorney review the DA each step of the way. As this quote demonstrates, DAs may delve into contract law, making some appeals to land use law void. As such, attorney fees can be burdensome on the city. So I wanted to discuss with the commission considering adding a provision passing those attorney fees onto the developer. Not only would that benefit the city, but it would ensure thoughtful, complete, and relevant applications. Is this something that you would be in favor of as a commission?
I think it would require them to do their homework first and they would come really, really ready. Rather than back and forth, because with each discussion, the city would need to consult counsel and that just racks up a tab. So I agree with that.
I do too. You may want, I don't know if it makes sense, but I mean, if the city got a good enough deal, then maybe they would go back and forgive that requirement.
Sure.
But, you know, I don't know if you want to state that or not, but that would be.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be great that they paid the legal fees and it would keep the riprap away.
Cool. Okay, the American Planning Association broke down what a good development looks like. I'd like to focus on the specificity portion. As mentioned, it's a contract, so it should be prolific enough to minimize interpretation and vagueness. But that being said, if something South Jordan brought up, like changing a fence direction, is not relevant, then it shouldn't be included in the development agreement. So only the important things that the city wants to sign to should be included in the development agreement, and those minor sort of design or whatever should be left as leeway to the developer. And those can be handled administratively. They emphasize that portion. Okay. The Utah League of Cities and Towns encouraged text amendments before development agreements to lower the amount of development agreements that are being applied for. If there's a provision or desire consistent across a number of DA applications, it makes more sense to create zones or amend development standards fulfilling those needs rather than jumping to a development agreement each time. This is what Ms. Layton and I have been working on in our rezones to accommodate things like townhomes, apartments, and mixes. Furthermore, as mentioned, they should be substantial deviations from code. The Utah League of Cities and Towns had a number of cases where developers sought development agreements simply to bypass a height or width requirement, and this does not constitute a development agreement in their eyes. It should be a substantive deviation from the code.
So would it be a variance instead?
No.
No?
That's a
What-
question
what would
I
it
had.
What would it technically, well, yeah, so I
Well,
have the same
that's-
question. What would it technically
That,
be?
that first saying, like, consider a text amendment, and yet we don't like to do amendments for one project at a time.
Or
Is that a
multiple amendments. I think this was Gateway's third, and there'll probably be more, right? We just dealt with a variance today, actually, and there are 5 or more criteria. All criteria must be met in order to even be eligible for a variance. And one of those things is you didn't bring on the problem yourself. right? And so developers who want bonus density or to get past the height or setback restrictions, that wouldn't be eligible for a variance because they don't have to do it in order to use the property. Instead of development agreements being the fallback to solve every problem, that's what we learned is that we should be considering ordinance amendments. If this is an ongoing problem that needs to be solved for people to develop, then we need to update our zoning and we need to update our standards instead of jumping into a development agreement every time. They should be few and far between, and they should be for a very big deal and not just bonus density. Okay, take it away.
That was my last slide. So I learned a lot from these organizations, and I hope the commission found this additional information helpful. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Kyle.
you.
It is informative. Thank you.
We did
Yeah.
lots of question and answers about development.
I know they're tough because I want them to be few and far between also, but in that I don't know how to write code that allows developers to be creative, and I'm not very good about thinking outside the box, so I don't know how to write a code that allows for flexibility and is specific, and you know what I mean? Like we want to get what we want instead of what we create the mixed use zone and we're like, oh, we're picturing this. And then they read it and they go, oh, we can do this, which we're like, no, not that. Right. So it's tough. I think it's really hard. And I think things are always evolving. The market is changing and interest rates affect things. Like it's
Absolutely.
everything's
And that's why it's
complex.
super important to update your land use code often. It should be, they call it a living document, right? Because it's constantly changing and it's not just something that stays the same forever and we always do it this way. Specifically for those reasons, right? Here we are going from planned professional to RT zone to just pulling the whole thing back because it didn't work, and you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be giving opportunities for your citizens to use their property the ways that they want to and develop the ways that they want to, without putting lots of hurdles in place. And it is difficult to write those ordinances, but thankfully all over these United States, it's being done. We have lots of good examples, and Kyle is very deep into it right now with the high density, the medium density, the centered density. We're going to have a little more leeway for folks to have wiggle room and not be, you can only do this, this, and this, or you have to do a development agreement. We want to get away from those development agreements because again, they are a contract. And I feel like in our workshops, we got really distracted by the exhibits. Everybody wants to focus on the site plan and where the roads go and what the buildings are going to look like. And we're not paying attention to the contract that we're entering into. The exhibits don't even really belong in there because as we know, just like the visionary workshop we did, that cute site plan that we spent an hour arguing over wasn't buildable to begin with. There's no way they could build that. Zero setbacks aren't a thing when you have to consider 15-foot easements just so your water and sewer lines are far enough apart. It wasn't buildable, and yet we spent an hour talking about it instead of focusing on the facts in the contract. And I think that's what Kyle and I have learned by going through these educational pieces from these different folks is that not to get distracted by the pictures, to really focus on the words. And as we move forward with development agreements, hopefully we can hold our developers a little more accountable for presenting the words instead of just showing us all the pictures and trying to woo us with a cool park. It's a big deal, and development agreements, when they need to be, when things go awry, that's not an administrative situation. That's two lawyers have to get together and figure out how people get out of these contracts. And that's expensive sooner or later. So yeah, this was just a good reminder for me and I think sometimes the best way to learn something is to try to teach it to someone else. It was super helpful for me to review all of this. And I think we both came away with definitely some education about development agreements. So I think you guys will be more prepared for the next one. Utah League of Cities and Towns actually has a whole YouTube lesson about development agreements. And I can definitely send you that link if you're interested in it. It's super helpful and it's current, and that's helpful as well.
I'd love that link.
Okay.
I do think having the developer pay for the legal fees is a wonderful filter. to
And the
put it through
engineering.
At the
Yeah.
very beginning.
Okay.
Regarding the agreements themselves, I recall that Visionary, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Visionary made the comment that they took the development agreement from one of our boilerplates.
Mhm.
If that's the case, how old is that boilerplate?
It's at least, I would say 5 years old.
Oh, we should have
Um,
that checked every year, probably.
But the same thing holds true for our template for subdivisions. That thing's probably 20 years old. It still says Pacificor on it, which isn't even a thing, I don't think anymore.
I just, bet-
So a lot of our templates do need
Yeah.
updating, and as we go, these are really good things to keep in mind. I think that would be a really great thing for our city attorney to go over, but again, that's expensive.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll take a little stab at that and then get attorney review and see.
my concern is because as a developer, I would think I should be able to rely and think if I use what the city's has it out there, I should be pretty good in good standing with the city. And we were looking at that going, what's this? Isn't for him to say, this is your development agreement. I was
Mhm.
like, oh, we should probably update this
Yeah,
because the language just wasn't.
I think the development agreements ought to be maybe in the first part is you have to submit what are you giving up and what are we getting? Like the summary table that they tried to do,
yes.
something like that, so that you could just say, look, we could all just look at it and go, we're getting nothing out of the deal. Why would we want to do anything?
This
like
is
that? Don't waste
the,
your
yeah,
time.
this is the criteria for moving forward is,
That's the
we
first thing on
first
your
we look at
checklist.
your summary
Send this in
table.
and see-
Sure.
And we'll take a look and give you a score. Get below 80, you're out.
I agree with that because your first element in the contract is there sufficient consideration?
Right.
And so, I mean, if you're making an offer on a home and you go in and say, I'll give you 50,000, you're asking 500,000, but I'll give you 50,000. You don't even discuss, what inspections you're gonna allow. You don't even go to the next
Right.
step. So I agree with Ned. I think consideration should be the first hurdle that's hit. You don't hit consideration, don't waste with the legal fees. Don't even
No,
go to
and
that
I don't think
discussion.
when we had our workshop with Visionary, I don't think the site plan was the thing he should have brought. I think that chart should have
The
been
whole
the
thing should
thing
have been
that he
that
brought.
table, and
Yeah.
the table, when you look at it, it's like, we're getting nothing.
And most of us, that was our concern is there's
Yeah.
not adequate consideration. If
Yeah.
City's not getting enough in return. There's no. moving
Some of this is definitely on us, right? As staff and as commissioners and council members, we need to make sure that the applications that we allow people to apply for are something we can actually consider, something we actually want to consider, and that we're asking for the information to consider instead of just give us everything you have and we'll let DRC carve at it first, and then we'll let planning commission carve at it. And then whatever city council decides is what we're gonna live with. We should be thoughtful with our applications and our ordinances governing them. It takes time and effort, of course, but I think for this particular thing, development agreements, I think that's something that would be definitely worth our time. I just foresee more and more of those. It's kind of been it's starting to be a fallback for everybody. Just, I don't want to even read through the code. I just want to present a development agreement instead. And it's expensive, it's time consuming, it's cumbersome, and still you don't end up, and then they get amended. So it's just an ongoing process that we could definitely handle better for sure. That's a good suggestion to look at the application process.
I'd like to reiterate my previous stance that development agreements should be the public hearing for a development agreement should be at the city council level.
Yeah.
The main one,
That made a lot of sense to me too, as I was reading through the
because
minutes.
it's a business agreement.
It really is, and we are not allowed to get into that. Only city council is allowed
Right.
to do that.
We don't do dollars at this
So-
level, right?
Correct. Okay,
Are
all
we-
very good and helpful suggestions.
Are we ready for future items?
Sure.
Start with the use table?
Sure. You remember that use table that I brought you and we talked about it?
Shouldn't this be under past items then?
Well, you would think so.
Just checking.
However, as we are considering these new zones, high density, medium density, low density, center density, it occurred to me that I'm gonna have to come back to this use table and make all kind of edits. So I'd like to get ahead of the game and maybe combine some of those, like the A and R2 right now are real similar, and we can go ahead and kind of make some combinations. But then I can also give you what I've created as a line by line spreadsheet of what I changed. And this is inbox. You can take as much time as you want to go through it, or you can wait for me to walk you through it. But mostly what I did was still formatting and clarity corrections and those additions of data centers, detention facilities, and a couple other things. Along with Kyle's been super helpful about finding those use specific standards so we can add them to the use table. So that it will actually be a quality, helpful document. So again, this is my edit spreadsheet. I am gonna put is the corrected use table already in there? Yes, the edits.
Sorry, this one right
Yep, I think so. Yes, so you see how we've moved, the very last column is where people can go in the code to find out how to do it. Make it bigger, she says. There, they can see it on the monitor.
Start scrolling. There it is.
So this is kind of how it will look, and I think we're gonna put a tab at the top that will say, that will go over the top of agricultural and R2. We'll put them next to each other, and then that will say low density housing or low density zone. So we'll kind of give little hints at the top about what these will be in the future. So that it won't be such a surprising transition when that time comes. And when the time comes, we can just actually switch it out to say, low density residential, formerly ag and R2. And people will still remember what they used to be.
You need to take out the residential transition. If that goes through.
Yes, pending those changes. So there'll be that's why it's a future consideration. I just want you to know it's coming. I'd like you maybe to go through and see, there hasn't been a lot of changes of where things are allowed and where they're not. We haven't taken away uses for public and institutional, but we have taken the C for conditional use permit out of a lot of things that have development standards for them, specifically ADUs. We're not requiring conditional use permits for that anymore. We're getting in line with the state and just allowing them as a use by right. And so all of the Cs should come off.
What was
for-
the recent application for a conditional use permit?
The conditional use permit on Wolfpack Way is for an industrial use in a commercial zone. So that one,
On Wolfpack Way.
Did that come before us?
no, it hasn't been through DRC yet.
It will come
It will
before
come
us.
Before us, before you. For where Mr. Chu has his dumpsters. What the pink one used to be kind of on on the dirt pile. And he's since moved the pink one down below, but he's storing much of his dumpster business overflow. He has a location in Logan and his overflow is now in Hyde Park. And so we're encouraging him to either start a legit business and do the improvements on the lot through a conditional use permit, or right now it's a code violation. So we're trying to clear up a code enforcement case through possibly the conditional use permit. If that's not approved, then then he would have to move all of those dumpsters to an industrial location. So that's a future consideration.
Can you
So
do me a favor?
sure.
The top line of the land use table where
Oh.
it says uses by zoning district and across
Yes,
vertically,
yes,
can you make that the top line of every new page?
yes.
So that Hmm?
Yes, this
Yeah.
isn't done being formatted.
I know it's probably for a
We're gonna
web page
try to
where you
make
can
it-
continually
Yes.
scroll. But unfortunately,
We can lock that down. Yep.
yeah, it's really hard to, okay, now which line is this again?
You should try looking at it on paper.
Yeah, well, at least you tape them together, which I would do because I'm old fashioned and I use tape.
That's the way mine is right now in my office. Yeah. I just fold it up. Yeah. So we can definitely do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Only for ease of review.
Absolutely.
makes it much easier.
Ease of use when it lives in the ordinance, online ordinance as well. It would be super helpful for it to be that way. So those will stay in box for your perusal, but they will change a little bit and be presented to you as a discussion item at the next meeting. And then hopefully by then be ready for public notice to be heard in August. The other one that we're going to bring to you as a discussion item is the rezone criteria. We talked about that several months ago, about how our rezone criteria didn't seem to be super helpful really when it came time to decide if a rezone should be granted. So we discussed that a little bit. I took your suggestions back. I put Kyle on it to do some more research and to help me with the legal verbiage for all of those. And we've come up with some good ideas. So at your leisure, again, this is a future item. This is not something you have to read right now, but we'll leave these in box so that you can kind of get eyes on them. And then on the 15th, we'll actually dig in and discuss. So bring your questions, comments, and concerns, suggestions, etc. on the 15th, and we'll dive into these. I think it'll be super important to have these rezone criteria in place because our next step is to propose these new zones, and we need to make sure we can actually let people use them and make those decisions wisely by crafting our criteria now ahead of time. And that's all I have. Our next meeting is, oh, no, not yet. Next meeting is July 15th. Is that, everybody will be around for that?
There's
Heather, are you still with us?
I am. Isn't it the 16th? Let me look.
Oh,
15.
No, should be 15. Should be the 15th. Today's the 1st.
Before Hyde Park Days, remember everybody.
Right. We could
Get
do
on that
that
right
on the
now.
grass.
Yeah, that was my mistake. Sorry.
no worries. So yeah, as long as we'll have a quorum on the 15th, then I'll continue to keep my public hearing
No, Mike?
notices open.
I will be
Oh, you
here.
will.
I'll be
Okay,
there.
sounds like
Great.
Heather, if you're here, we might have all 5 of us.
I will be
That'd
there.
fun. Sweet.
What a change.
Okay. Chair, that's all I have.
Okay, anything else from commissioners? Okay.
I make motion, we adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I.
Can you stay on, Heather?
Heather, can you stay on for a minute?
Yes, I can.
Okay, let me end the YouTube really quick. Everybody just take a couple of minutes and I will.